When the Nintendo Switch was announced, there were a couple games that I had heard could potentially come to the system. One of them being a Bomberman and one of them being a Street Fighter. Now, when I heard this information, I thought, there's no way. Bomberman, Street Fighter, these are franchises that should be on a Nintendo platform, but more than likely they won't be. And I just kind of come to accept that. But when I saw the sizzle reel at the Nintendo Switch event, I saw Bomberman and I saw Street Fighter, and I was like, what is going on? This is amazing. So Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, has been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch. And as you can tell, I'm a big Street Fighter 2 fan. Whether it's the original version, Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, the Genesis versions, it doesn't really matter. All of the versions of the game are really well done. It's one of those games that's just timeless. You feel like you've mastered it, but then someone comes along and beats your ass, and you go back to the drawing board. It's just timeless gameplay that you can't beat it, in my opinion. And Street Fighter is one of the best fighting franchises, if not the best fighting franchises of all time. So I was very excited to see Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, be confirmed for the Nintendo Switch. But then people got to talking. A lot of people seem to think that this is just a simple port of an Xbox 360 and PS3 Live game. So is that the case? Is this game just a simple port, or is Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, a brand new experience with a lot of content? I'm here to clear up the fact from the fiction, so let's find out. So when people talk about Ultra Street Fighter 2 being a simple port of a game, they are referencing the Super Street Fighter 2 HD game that was released on Xbox Live and the PSN network. Now what this was just a graphical overhaul of Super Street Fighter 2 with a new art style that brought it into sort of the HD graphics that has hand-drawn, sort of different graphics. And to be fair, the graphics are done in the Ultra Street Fighter 2 by the same company that did the ones in the Xbox 360 and PS3 version. So of course there are going to be graphical similarities. As far as new content goes, there wasn't really much. There was a slight balancing issue that was done in the game, but other than that, there was no additional characters, no additional modes. You did have online multiplayer and of course local multiplayer. But other than that, it was a pretty no-frills experience. Still a fantastic game. Love it to death, but let's be fair, it was really just a graphical overhaul of an older fighting game. Now, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, has a lot more going than that. First and foremost, the game has been sort of rebuilt from the ground up specifically for the Switch. Now, how do I know this? Well, my buddy and co-host over on Nintendo Enthusiast, Jason Lapine, went to a Switch event, and when he was at the Switch event, he was talking with the guy that was standing by Ultra Street Fighter 2, and he was telling him that it was built up from the ground up. Now, most of the gameplay remains the same, but they are tweaking combos, and they are tweaking some balancing issues. The core gameplay remains the same, but it'll just play out in a little different way. So in my opinion, that's a big plus. Even if the balancing is sort of a bit different at first, it does give a new dimension and a new layer of strategy to the game. The game will also have simplified controls. Now, if you ever played Super Street Fighter 4 3D on the Nintendo 3DS, you might remember there was a touchscreen mode where you can just touch the screen and do your moves, and you can do combos that way, and of course character moves. And while I never used it because it's kind of scrub material, it is good for newcomers to the series. It is good for people who have never played Street Fighter or just maybe never had the time to learn all of the combos and when you should do what and whatnot. So while I won't use that mode, I'm not against that mode being in the game because options are always good. Another thing that Ultra Street Fighter 2 brings to the table is the fact that this is the first Street Fighter game that has out-of-the-box multiplayer. What do I mean by that? Every Street Fighter has multiplayer. Except with this console, you're getting two controllers, so you could bring this system wherever you go with the Nintendo Switch and play with the Joy-Cons. The game does support Joy-Cons, and you can play the full game with it. So while that might not be the preferred method, if you're out in public or something, you're just messing around with some Street Fighter, some dude says he could come up and body you on it, you could just throw him a Joy-Con and be like, yo, let's go, put 5 on it or something. You know what I'm saying? So it really opens up a new dynamic. It really opens up a whole new landscape. And as far as the multiplayer is concerned, there will be online multiplayer in this, which is great. That's always good, and I hope the source code is well done for it. Now, if you're looking for something else besides just fighting one-on-one with each other, there is also a new mode where 2 people can team up and go against one CPU opponent. Once again, I don't know how, important that'll be, but some people might like it. It'll be fun to mess around with it at the very least. Also, there are 2 brand new characters, and they will have slight balancing differences than other characters in the series, and this is the first time they have been in Street Fighter 2. So that brings it up to 19 total characters in the roster, which, like I said, this is the first time these 2 have been in the Street Fighter 2 game. So that's another plus. So you're getting new characters, you're getting the ability to play it anytime, anywhere, online multiplayer, new modes, simplified controls if you want it, being rebalanced, and there's a whole new mode that nobody talked about. Now, if you watch the trailer for Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, there was a little snippet where there was like a first-person view, and nobody knew what that was. They were like, what the hell was that? It makes no sense. Well, it has just been confirmed that this will be quite possibly the craziest mode in the world. It's going to be a first-person's perspective on rails mode, where you use the Joy-Cons to throw Hadokens. I'm sorry, that is just awesome. Yes, it's not practical. Yes, it wouldn't make sense to put motion controls in the full game and do, your whole thing like that. But as a side diversion, that's awesome. That's gonna be so much fun. Have you ever wanted to throw a Hadoken in real life? Of course you wanted to. Everyone wants to. So the fact that you're getting a rebalanced game with new modes, new characters, and just a whole bunch of bells and whistles, how can you say that this is a simple port? I don't think it is. You can't say it's a simple port. This is going to be a game that's going to stand up on its own. You got to remember, Street Fighter V, while good today, when that game came out, it was sorely lacking in features. Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, has way more content than Street Fighter V did at launch. And that was a $60 game, and people still picked it up, didn't they? Of course they did. So honestly, Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers is probably one of my top 5 games for 2017, period, bar none, any platform. I am super looking forward to this game, and I hope this video just kind of, cleared things up for you guys, because I know a lot of people out there are confused. A lot of people didn't seem to see this information, so that's why I wanted to make this video, to inform you guys about what all sort of content is going to be involved with Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, be sure to check out other videos on the channel. If you like my face, check out my Patreon, which is over here. And if you really like my face, subscribe. I did that backwards, but hey, that's okay. Whatever, I'll catch you guys next time. Later.